heat number 3, where we have a pretty big favorite, and that's the group right there that's the big favorite. Brothers Track Club, and their top runner, Wyatt Falkowski, will be running on the second leg in their familiar light blue singlet. The Boston Jesuit Eagles, Seamus Larnard, John Wilson, Greg McGrath, Chris Larnard. They're in the white there. Buffalo Road Track Club. They have Jack Flory, Owen Wolf, Josh Mahan, and Max DeRoche. And they're doing a little football formation there. Well, I guess if you're from Buffalo, you're probably a Bills fan. Next up is the Coltnex Track Club. Jay Adamala, John Shapiro, Jacob McNamara, Hunter Selcuppa. Again, I can't guarantee that these athletes are actually going to be on the starting line in that order, but we'll do our best. South Farms Track Club, John Larkin, Owen Martin, Cameron Nephew, and Jack Willett. And Jack Willett's a good one, by the way. Brooklyn Tech, Travis Wolf Thompson, Alexander Jones, Amos Press, and Elijah Gentry. Pencrest Track Club, Brendan Hefferin, Edomius Mulugeta, Nick Fante, and Rowan Carr. That's the Pencrest Track Club. And now coming up is, well, it is Westfield. It looks like a CC Track Club has withdrawn. So Westfield, Tej Maida, Caleb Stokeman, Graham Corrins, Eamon Mason. And the A2 Track Club, Eric Overdyer, Kamari Ronfelt, Beckett Crooks, Vince Peterson Sand. That is the A2s in the purple. The Natick Track Club, Boston Marathon Course. That's what that city is very well known for. Sean Fleming, John Bianchi, Stephen D'Alessandro, and Nicholas Bianchi. The brothers Bianchi leading that team. The Nittany Track and Field Club, Owen Coughlin, Isaac Opperman, Samuel Andres, and Neil McGuire. The EO Panthers coming out now. They have Spencer Slayton, Gabrielle Montoya, Brendan Cook, and Jack Mattingly. We're going to have 14 on the start line. By the way, we're introducing now the 13th team, which is the Burnt Hills Track Club. Matthew Windecker, Ben Smith, Brian Hughes, and Caden Robleno. And finally, we have the Marlington Dukes Running Club. And this group is Logan Satino, Mike Nichols, Luke Ryan, and Colin Cernaski. So there we go. That's the section number 3. The meet record, 17:12:34. The fastest time of the day so far, 17:36:57. And we'll have to see. The meet record, by the way, set by Union Catholic 2 years ago. And a big favorite this year will be Christian Brothers there in the light blue. Should be a good one, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this one. You know, the athletes that you have mentioned, the teams, there are teams that we've seen before, we've heard before, and this is exciting for them to be back here racing at New Balance.
Well, if we've seen anything from the first 2 races, it's that third leg has been a challenge for some of the teams that run. It's hard to put together 4 good ones, and it seems like most of the top teams early on kind of buried their weakest leg on the third leg, which makes sense because your anchor leg then can make up for any sort of difficulties.
But then
Christian
we just
Brothers,
saw in
by
that
the way.
Oops, sorry, Tom. Just in that last race, we just saw, they made it their last 2 legs were heavy. The heavy, or the big shots, maybe. I don't know what the right word is there, but they had their 2 fastest guys go 3 and 4.
Yes. And the second leg was the one that was the difficult one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and anyone can have a good day or an off day too, but it is just, again, interesting to see how people decide, how coaches, how teams decide to make up that squad. Some people put a real, superstar up front and try to blow it open. Some people wait to that third leg. The sleeper leg is the third leg. A lot of people think, oh, we're going to wait to put our rock star on the anchor, but a lot of times in these longer races, they need to either close up a gap or they need to blow it open, and that's what you do on that third leg.
The the brothers team has two very good runners, Connor Clifford, who's a 4:11 miler, and Wyatt Felkowski. And when you have two runners at that caliber, that makes you the favorite. And if you can put two other legs together, pretty decent runners. The hard part, of course, with all this, Kerry, is that the schools have been through their state championships, their districts, their regionals, their masters meets, whatever you want to call them. And this is postseason. So whether these athletes can carry their fitness level, their peaking level through another couple weeks of the season, that also has to be factored into, you know, how the race calculus goes as well.
You said it. I mean, sometimes mentally everyone is just checked out, especially if they are trying to get to that state meet or, they're just sort of ready for a fun summer. I mean, I loved having my summer. I went from running track to playing basketball. My summer was full of basketball, and I wanted to kind of get away from the sport a little bit. So some athletes are just hanging on by a thread. And it's also good experience, when you're running the Olympic trials or the NCAAs. A lot of the athletes are just so ready to run, get that race done, but also their bodies are talking to them. Even when I was at the Olympic Games, there were more of us in the training room than we were outside the training room. Everyone is a little bang tired. And so, yeah, you never know how these athletes are feeling.
Yeah, so it's the Boston Jesuit Eagles on the first leg. We assume that's Seamus Larnard. Brothers, the team that we've been talking about, is in third. The young man with the blonde hair. In fourth, that is Colt's Neck. And single file they go.
Well, Tom, on paper, if it is Lannard who is running for Boston Jesuit off the first leg here, I have it. I can't quite see. Yeah, it is. He is the fastest on this team. He's a 4:09 guy, and they put him on that first leg.
And to a large degree, maybe you do that because you want to get out of traffic too, and have somebody that can get you going, keep you apart from the masses that are behind you. Number 7, that's Pencrest Track Club. That's the gentleman on the right. Presumably that is Brendan Hefferon, who's also running very well. Colt's Neck has Jay Adamala. Colt's Neck is in third. And these guys are hoofing it. Coming up now pretty soon to the exchange for the second leg runner. And Larnard is going to come in and probably hand off here first. And he does indeed. Now, it's supposed to be John Wilson, and Larnard ran 4:16.73. Colt's Neck, Jay Adamala, 4:18.51. Pencrest, Brendan Heffernan, 4:18.71. Brothers hanging in there. That's all they really have to do because they have those two great legs. And on paper, Wyatt Felkowski is supposed to be running this particular leg for Brothers, and that should get them back into it. And there he is, I think, in the light blue, Felkowski moving his way up for Brothers. He's got some work to do, but definitely, and you can see those splits that I just gave you verbally, they're on the screen. Wilson of Jesuit, Boston Jesuit, looks very comfortable, and a nice pack of 6 right there within hovering distance, Kerry.
Boston Jesuit's Wilson, as you're talking about him, he is a 4:19 guy on paper. But yeah, I mean, anything can happen. He looks smooth, not really losing any ground, actually gaining as in that first lap he did. So we'll have to see if this pack can close it up just a little bit.
And now South Farms Track Club making a strong move to get into the mix of this race. Fascinating race so far. Absolutely fascinating. South Farms and Brothers in third. Can still see Colt's Neck in the mix, as is Pencrest. And now South Farms, presumably this is Owen Martin really narrowing the gap. And it's Boston Jesuit and South Farms, 1-2, a little separation there. Looking for something around 8:40 probably at the handoff. Going to be very tough to break this meet record of 17:12, but it's also 83 degrees out.
Well, 17:12 is a 4:17 pace per mile. You know, if you average it out, it's about a 4:17. And right now, you know, looking at South Farms, they ran such a great leg. It was a really nice, even leg. It looked like he just slowly wound it up, tried to reel in Wilson. He's looking really smooth here with, what, 200 to go.
A little jostling for 4, 5, and 6 there. Again, probably looking at a handoff here at about 8:35 or so. And things are really tightening up. A lot of movement in the back of that pack, or in the middle of the pack, I should say. And Buffalo Road is now moving up. Wow, that was a stunning move. Stunning move. That young man is really moving. And we're going to come up here. That was a good piece of running there by Wolf, Owen Wolf of Buffalo Road. Now the question is, did he make his move a little bit too soon? He's got his head down a little bit, but he's still hanging in there, Carrie, and he's just got to go, you know, 2/3 of a home stretch here.
Trying to close hard in second place there, but I think that our leaders have a pretty good lead here, and now we'll have to see again now what happens on the third leg. 4:16.
Oh, a drop baton. A drop baton. Wow, bad drop baton there. We had South Farms is in second and Brothers in third. That was a ghastly drop baton because he dropped it a couple times after it was mishandled in the first place. You got to be really careful. It's a 4-mile race, for Pete's sake. You got to slow down, take that baton, and make sure you have it. And that was an absolute downright disaster. And now it's Buffalo Road, South Farms, and here comes Brothers Track Club, the team we were looking at from the start.
Well, this is why we run. All these exciting things happen, especially in these these relays where, you know, we saw even Sadie Engelhardt just a couple weeks ago run in her state meet, I believe, where they dropped the baton. She actually tried to get it, dropped it again, dropped it twice, and had to close really hard to win. So, you know, some of the best, if the best, even drop.
And that's right, and to win in a 4x8 in a one division California State Championship. One division, I want to emphasize that. To do that, that Ventura team is a special team beyond just Sadie Engelhardt.
Right.
All right, Brothers is now inexorably moving forward. Buffalo Farms, Brothers, ahead of South Farms. And I'll tell you what, Brothers looks awfully smooth. That's Ryan Schmidt of Brothers. Boy, he's out of central casting for how a middle distance runner should look and run, isn't he? Boy, just so smooth there. Tall drink of water, thin, nice long strides.
Well, he's a 4:15, 4:16 runner as well. So Brothers Track Club has had some great consistency here.
And it really boils down to the type of program and culture you develop. And now getting back into the mix is the Boston Jesuit Eagles. That young man in third is running a great leg. Great third leg for the Jesuit Eagles. But now we got a little cat and mouse here between Brothers and Buffalo Road. And the Jesuit Eagles in third, and a huge pack carry. We got 6 teams not too far off the pace here.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Have to kind of be careful. There's still some racing left to be done, and there is a huge pack working together to close in on those top 3.
Yeah. And now Schmidt really starting to stride out a bit. He looks so comfortable out there. Brooklyn Tech making a big move on the outside. You can kind of feel the buzz in the crowd here.
Yeah, you can hear them. You know, this is what happens sometimes in these long relays, though. You start to forget about everyone behind you when you're racing another team. You just start thinking about each other when you forget that there's actually 5, 6 other teams that are trying really hard to close that gap. It looks like the Brothers team has now started to go. I believe that's Ryan Schmidt. He's starting to move a little bit now. He's pouring on a little distance, but they're still coming hard from behind.
They are. And you've got to remember that the anchor leg for Brothers is Connor Clifford, a 4:11 miler. That's going to be a tough nut to crack for any one of these teams. And Schmidt just looks so smooth and relaxed. He's running a superior leg, looks behind him there one time. And Brothers is loaded for bear. A terrific leg run by Colts Neck. 4:18.57 for Jacob McNamara of Colts Neck. And Schmidt running pretty well within himself, 4:20.73. Just to give you an idea, Brothers went 4:19, 4:22, 4:20. That's what kind of a program they run over there. Connor Clifford can't be too cute here, though, because you got a lot of good anchor legs behind you. So
you definitely have to keep the pressure on when that is your leg, when you have a little bit of space. But like I said, you know, sometimes a look back is okay in a race where you have a big lead like that, just to see where you're at. But he has all eyes in front right now. And he does seem like he's got that pressure on. When he knows he's got one of the best PBs in the field, 4:11 is what Connor Clifford has run before. He knows that he has the confidence and he can run with anybody.
And the young man has terrific turnover. But in all likelihood, he's going to have a challenge here before this 1 mile leg is going to be done. Somebody's going to go after him, I would think.
It's how they get to him.
Right, and it would only be natural for him to take the foot off the gas a little bit. This is probably not his only race here at this meet.
Yeah, you said it. Sometimes these athletes have multiple races, and having a little bit left in the tank for an individual event or another relay is important. And so they're dealing with some big life decisions in these races.
They really are. And coming up very quickly is Chris Larnard from Boston Jesuit Eagles. The Eagles ran Seamus Larnard on the first leg and brother Chris Larnard on the last leg. And here comes Chris. And as I said, you're going to have company in a race like this if you try to get a little too conservative.
Connor Clifford, the future University of Georgia runner, takes a big look behind, senses the danger.
And now it's really starting to tighten up.
That danger is coming from Chris Larnard.
We're looking at something around 17:10, I think, Carrie, which would get us under the meet record. It's possible. if I've done my math correctly, which is never a given.
Well, clearly mine isn't. But Leonard now starting to make a little bit of move going around. And I kind of liked how he timed that pass. He waited until he got to the backstretch. He didn't need to go out on the turn. He was trying to just get back to the straightaway where he could just move out a little bit and then slowly move back in. It was a smart move and a smart pass. And he is starting to put a little bit of pressure on. But the brothers team is definitely tucking back in and trying to keep that distance down. But look at the pack coming behind him.
Indeed, there's 5 teams behind, and this is a classic case of Clifford being a 4:11 miler who maybe just, is burned out from the season, who maybe just doesn't have it today. But here comes the pack. This is going to be an extraordinary finish.
Yeah, the pack has had to move hard with about 500 to go. You could really see them starting to move. And now they're going to get up on him. We're going to have to see what Leonard has left in him. Can he outkick? Is he waiting for them to come? Has he been driving and running the kick out of them? We'll have to see.
And South Farms has now moved into second. Or actually, no, it's Brothers. Brothers is back into second, pardon me. And I think Clifford has saved a little bit of something here. Here comes Connor Clifford, and it's going to be a doozy down the stretch here. Brothers. And it's not going to be Brow. Clifford just gets gassed at the end, and it's Boston Jesuit and Chris Larnard, 4:10, 46 on the anchor. Brothers, 4:14.05. Clifford, a 4:14. Brooklyn Tech, a huge anchor by Elijah Gentry, 4:12.70. Final time 17:15.79. So as usual, my math was off. South Farms Track Club with Jack Willett running a 4:13.61, 17:20.31. I'll tell you what, very, very good running. 6 teams under 17:21. 6 teams within 6 seconds of one another.
Well, on paper, it says that Chris Leonard has a 4:20 and Seamus Leonard has a 4:09. I kind of wonder if there was maybe a swap there. And so, looking at that, Chris Leonard has run 4:10 for that anchor leg, and he looked so smooth.
I think your detective skills are actually probably correct. But whatever, the Larnard brothers did a nice job for the Boston Jesuit Eagles.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they proudly wear the colors of Boston College University. And they have a lot to be proud of. This is a very tough field, a very tough race, in 83-degree conditions, and it shows the strength